The Impact Alert Center once again for another update here. This time we're going to make it a little more interactive. So we want you to let us know your questions. I'm going to go ahead and pop that on for you. I guess it's not so much ice this time as it is snow. I'll have to update that for you. But the number is still the same. 336-379-5775. Again, 336-379-5775. We'll leave about the last 5 minutes or so for questions. So go ahead and write that down, text it to us throughout the entire event. Number will stay the same, so if you have any questions at any time, you can just let us know, and we'll do our best to answer them as quick as we can. All right, let's get into this event. So, yes, Saturday, snow, Sunday, Monday, cold. That really is the tune that we're singing here with this type of an event. Snow will be likely. Low wind chills are also going to be likely, especially as we go into our Sunday morning. It looks brutally cold, and I'll show you some of that data in just a moment. Avoid snowy travel. Just stay off the roads. If it's snowing, you should be at home enjoying it with your kids, not being out on the roads unless you absolutely have to travel. You want to stay warm, of course. Wear lots and lots of layers. No, we're not looking at power outages or extended power outages with this. There's a low threat for maybe a few sparse power outages here and there, just because we are going to see the wind ramp up, and wind is a big factor when it comes to sporadic, or at least the low end chance of that. So that's why we might have to watch out for a few power outages, but we're not talking anything super extended or anything like that like we were last storm with the ice. It feels cold outside. Temperatures in the low 30s right now. Many of us struggling to get to the freezing mark today. And even if you did reach the freezing mark, it feels more like the mid-20s to lower 20s across here. Look at Greensboro. It's 30 degrees outside, but it feels like 23. And I tell you, folks, when that breeze does blow, it does feel cold. So keep that in mind. It's definitely going to be a chilly one as you're going out and about getting your errands done. And this afternoon, maybe doing some prep for the storm. Let's talk about the wind, because it'll be a big factor, I think, as we go into our Saturday. Not so much today. There's a little bit of a slight breeze. But really, we're going to see this increase in magnitude as we go into our Saturday. Look at those gusts, 20, possibly even up to 30 miles an hour at times. That's on top of an already bitterly cold air mass. So, of course, that's going to knock the wind chill values way down. And you're going to need to keep that in mind. Even as we go into our Sunday here, as our model data doesn't quite go out that far, you can see here by Sunday morning, still talking about gusts into the 20 to 30 mile an hour range, especially for parts of the foothills that'll be kind of moving off the foothills down into the triad as we go through the afternoon. So it's going to be very chilly. I can show you what that would look like modeled as far as what it's going to feel like outside. So this is Friday morning. We're in the low 20s is what it'll feel like. By the time we get towards the afternoon hours, we're still talking mid-20s, lower 30s. But the big change, of course, comes as we go Friday night. Here we are into Saturday. Now we're into the event. Look at these wind chills, folks. We're talking 4 a.m. on Saturday. It could feel like 9 degrees across much of the metro. Single digits, low teens, even across maybe the southern tier of the viewing area. And so this is going to be blowing snow. It's going to be cold. It's going to be limited visibility. It's a very light powdery snow, so if that gets blown around by the wind, your visibility will start to drop off. So that might be something you want to keep in mind if you're like, I can drive on snow since we're not dealing with ice. Well, watch out for limited visibility, because if the wind, which will be there, whips up, we're going to see those visibilities disappear very quickly. That is Saturday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. We're talking, feeling like 1 degree above freezing. 1 degree above zero, which is even worse. And then it feels below zero in many locations. And of course, that's not the brunt of the cold. The brunt of the cold comes in as we go into our Monday and Sunday into Monday. So, this is our Saturday afternoon. Many places are feeling like the single digits the entire day. So if kids are going to get out and play in the snow, it's going to be one of those bundle up, prepare for it type of fun out in the snow events. If kids aren't properly protected, frostbite could be a real concern, as we're going to see those temperatures into single digits. That's what it'll feel like. Nothing that maybe a warm mug of hot cocoa or hot apple cider will kind of cure, but still at the same time we need to be taking all the precautions. Lots of layers for the kiddos under their snow gear and snow pants, and make sure everything is waterproof, and that if they're not waterproof, they're coming in and they're taking breaks before they go back out and have some more fun in the snow. Because we are looking at snow from this. And we'll see accumulating snow that I think kids can have some fun in, at least even on the low end of things, looking at maybe 3 inches or so. I'll show you the snow map here in just a bit. So there's our futurecast model. You can see the snow starting up as we go Friday night. We're really telling everybody, be at home by about 10 o'clock Friday night, because that's when we're going to start to see maybe the first flakes fall. As they start to fall, they're going to accumulate pretty quickly. So you can see the cold air there wrapping in. And there's your changes, right? That's your hint that the changing weather. You can see that stripe of pink that now extends down into the foothills. Winter storm warning. They're going to start to see the effects faster than us. So they're already seeing the winter storm warnings into the foothills. That's going to move to us next as we even go tonight, maybe starting to see those winter storm warnings being issued, or even into the early morning hours tomorrow. You can see winter weather advisory stretching back through parts of East Tennessee, and then Northeast Tennessee, my hometown, is under winter storm warning, as well as Western North Carolina. And so, like I said, I expect that to be filling in as we go through the next couple of days. Triad right now, still winter storm watch for the potential of accumulating snow, and some impacts to travel will definitely be expected. The other side of this is the cold weather, and we already have extreme cold watches in effect for the mountains. This means wind chills will be below 10 below zero. That's some very, very cold air. So if you're going up into the mountains to do some skiing, maybe catch some of the fresh powder that's falling, beware. It is going to be dangerously and brutally cold if you're going right after and to try to catch some of that freshness. I know skiers and snowboarders like to do that. They just need to be prepared for 10 below zero or even colder at times, especially with the wind. Not so much seeing that here for the Triad, but we are looking at impacts. The winter storm severity impact index there, considerable disruptions expected. And it's because we're going to see some of the snow fall on areas that are still shaded and still having some of those issues of clearing the snow as it is. And now we're going to put some snow on top of that. Now this is, again, fresh powdery snow, so it's going to clear pretty quickly, but you want to do that. If you wait and you try to do it later, well, it won't go so good for you, because then you're going to freeze that into ice again, and you know how hard it is now to get rid of ice, because we've been trying to get rid of it for the last couple of days. And so just go ahead and use Sunday. I know it's going to be brutally cold. Just bundle up. Go out there, get that snow out off your driveway, get the snow off the sidewalks, do your shoveling, and however you need to remove the snow on Sunday, so that by the time we get into early next week, it's not sticking around. So that's the big kind of ticket items here that we're going over. I will show you a snow map. First of all, let's show you this, because there is some high potential with the unknowns of this, with some snow chances, a bust forecast, or boom, right? So we show you this. This is really one of those scenarios that you have that knife edge of boom, bust, right on the line there. Kind of to our east is the way it looks right now across maybe the Raleigh-Durham area, but that could sneak its way a little further west, and that could start cutting down snow totals. So I think you can expect about 3 inches. On top of that, maybe up to 6 inches. And then over that, that's going to be depending on where we see those heavy snow bands set up. That's really the big thing that we have to watch. So the official forecast here is looking at about 3 to 6 for most of the Triad, 1 to 3 further to the north. I will say, keep your snow expectations low, okay? Because there is the potential, again, that we get dry slot and we don't see a whole lot. See our friends to the east there with that light blue, that 1 to 3, that's a dry slot. And if it draws any closer to us, that's going to start cutting in on some of our snow totals as well and snow fun. So I still think, around 3 inches, even if you do get dry slotted. But, if you want to see those higher amounts, then we need to stay out of that. So the dry slot, the heavier bands, those are things that are really, really difficult to pin down exactly. And so that's kind of what we're watching as far as the forecast is concerned. Let's see if I can get logged in and get some of your all's questions here. And we'll check out some of those comments. I'll put that screen back up if you missed it to begin with. There's that for you. Oh, my head's on it. Let me pop that off. So there's the number for you. And I'm going to try to pull this up for us before our time expires. If not, then we'll definitely have it going into the future here. Maybe not. But I will say, if you have a question and I can't get to it on here, I will continue to dig through them and we can answer them. I can answer them. I can text you back and answer here. This is just not working. Lovely. We love it when that happens. So yeah, if you text your question, I will try to get back to you with the answer for that, and then we'll try to get it live when Tim takes over for some of the later ones here. And of course, I'll have the latest forecast for you on WFMY News 2, and then also on WFMY Plus streaming there. So that's the big thing there. Here is our 7-day. Everybody wants to know the 7-day forecast, right? So we are talking, that needs to be moved, obviously. That hasn't been updated. They give you this one, which is correct. There you go. Saturday, Sunday into Monday morning. Saturday's the snow day. Sunday's the day of very, very cold, bitterly cold, like wind chills and temperatures, but the day you want to get out and clear the snow. Monday morning, brutally cold, dangerously cold, and we'll have whatever is left over that nobody takes care of as we go into Sunday. So I do anticipate the melting refreezing cycle to take over once again early next week. But notice temperature is a little warmer maybe. We're getting into low 40s. That's going to feel like a heat stroke comparatively to where we have been. So that's the good news there. Again, the snow could start as early as about Friday night. We want everybody kind of into their shelter, so to speak, before we start getting into things. And we are going to see considerable impacts here across the triad. So you do need to plan for that. I think the biggest thing that we're looking at here is just the travel impacts. So we're talking high travel impacts because we're going to put down more snow on top of whatever's icy in the shade, and also just that type of snow driving in it. I think Brad Panovich came up with a great term last night on the Weather Impact Show. By the way, they're doing that for a full hour tonight at 6:30 on WFMY Plus. We're right here where you're watching us, and so you want to tune into that. A full hour with two of the best chiefs in the Carolinas. You definitely don't want to miss it, and they're thinking on the storms. But anyways, Brad described it as a asphalt road versus a dirt road. You can still drive on a dirt road, but you can't take any sudden turns or anything because of the loose pebbles. Same thing on snow. You can drive on this snow if you do so cautiously. If you start trying to be herky-jerky with the wheel and just slamming on the brakes, that's when you start running into problems. So best thing is to stay off the roads, spend the time with family, spend the time with friends, have a ball. If you shoot yourself sledding and shoot video of that, or the kids or dogs out in the snow, we would love to have that video. And you can send it in to us here. You can tag us on social media as well, and we'd love to share that and get to enjoy the excitement with you, because we don't want to all be doom and gloom all the time either. So that's kind of what we're dealing with there. So again, we'll continue to keep you updated as we get closer and closer to this